Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Transformation Talks. As you can see, it is just me here today with y'all, and that is because today is a mini episode where either Andrew or myself will be here with you guys, sharing some thoughts that have been on our minds, whatever topic it may be. And today we're going to be covering something that will be very near and dear to my heart, which is mental health. If you follow me on Instagram, shameless plug, I talk a lot about mental health, particularly my struggles with anxiety, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and depression, all three of which I was diagnosed with when I was 18 years old. Because going back to when I was about 18 years old, when I was first diagnosed, I already knew I was someone who was prone to being anxious, and my obsessive-compulsive disorder was very, very apparent growing up. Especially when it came to taking tests in high school or in college or just school regardless. I knew I dreaded taking those tests because for me, I was always the last person to finish those tests because I'd always have to double check, triple check, quadruple check my tests, my multiple choice tests in particular. I dreaded multiple choice tests because I was so scared that I had bubbled in the wrong answer. I was so scared that maybe I didn't bubble the bubbles on the Scantron test the right way. And if it wasn't the right bubble, I would have to erase it and start all over again until I had scribbled in the bubble just right on the Scantron test. And so for those reasons, I was always the last one to finish my multiple choice tests growing up. And for me, that was apparent that, okay, maybe I'm someone who's a little bit more prone to anxiety, a little bit more prone to those compulsive, obsessive habits. But my depression was something that was a little harder to figure out. Like many days, I wasn't able to find the strength to get out of bed as easily. And even when I did, I lacked the energy to do simple tasks like shower, make myself something to eat, and even doing things that I had to do for school or for other things. It was to the point where it was very debilitating and it was really stressful, and it would absolutely suck when I had a list of all these things I wanted to do, all these things I wanted to accomplish, and then when it was said and done at the end of the day, I had done just a few items on that list, a few things on that list, or I had done none of them. And then I would just be so hard on myself because I didn't do those things. You know, I would be really, really hard on myself. I would criticize myself so much for not doing those things because of the lack of energy I would have to do any of those things that I had set to do at the beginning of a day. And this cycle would just repeat itself and repeat itself and repeat itself. And I noticed over the past several years that my depression would always spike during one particular time of the year, and that is during the colder, darker periods of the year. For those who may not know, I live in the Midwest. I live here in Chicago, and I grew up in a suburb about an hour and a half northwest of the city. So I've lived in the Midwest all my life. I did live in Texas for a few years growing up, but I hardly remember that time of my life. The periods of my life that I know the most and recognize the most are the times when I lived here in Illinois. And I noticed during those times of the year, the colder, darker months is when my energy would go down and my depression would really spike. And the more I opened up about my depression with other people, and especially about that spike during the colder months of the year, I saw that a lot of other people had similar experiences. A lot of people told me about how they were in a similar slump themselves. And I did some research online and found that this affects, as a matter of fact, millions of people, not just in America, but all over the world, who struggle with this sort of seasonal depression. Despite it having an effect on me the way it has over the past few years, there have been a few things that have helped me a lot with making the more sucky days less sucky and making the more debilitating days of my depression less debilitating. And so I thought today I would share a few of those things with you. I do want to lead off by saying that I am not a medical professional by any means whatsoever. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist, but I am somebody who has dealt with depression, anxiety, OCD. And so these things that I'm about to share have helped me a lot. And hopefully, if you're somebody who's listening or watching this right now and are going through something similar, you might be able to benefit from some of these things that I'm about to share with you. So with that said, I got my notes right here on my phone, and I'm going to go through some of these with y'all. And the first one is incorporating movement into your day, whether it's going out for a 30-minute walk, doing a small or longer workout, whether it's at the gym or at home. I have found that just moving dramatically improves my mood. It's also a really good stress reliever if there is something for work or in my life that is just weighing heavily on my mind. I find that just moving helps a lot. Even something as simple as just going for a walk around my neighborhood really helps a lot with improving my mood and making me feel so much better afterwards. And even if it doesn't make a dramatic difference on how I feel, I find that just moving helps, even just the tiniest bit, in making me feel better. So I would say, even if it's just going out for a 10-minute walk today, try that. If you're close to nature, go for a walk in nature. I know I live about 5 minutes from Lake Michigan, so it's very helpful for me to go and just listen to the sound of the waves and do this one thing, which is a nice segue to the next thing that I want to talk about that has helped me a lot, which is meditation. I like to go by the lake and put on a meditation and close my eyes, and I just listen to the sound of the waves crashing over Lake Michigan and listen to the guided meditation that I am listening to on my phone. For me, I know it was very hard at first. It was very, very hard at first to just stop and press the pause button and be present in the moment, because we all have a million things going on in our lives, whether it's stuff personally, professionally, you name it. And so for me, it was really hard to get to a point of just stopping everything and just be here, be in the now. But after practicing meditation again and again and again, I now look forward to meditation so much. Even if I can do it just once a day, I generally do it around lunchtime. Sometimes I'll do it for 5 minutes. Sometimes I'll do it for 10 minutes. It really depends on the day, but I look forward to it so much when I can get to the point in my meditation where I can just think about nothing. Nothing at all comes to mind. All I am focused on is my breath, the sounds of whatever is around me, and focusing on those sounds and focusing on the meditation. For meditation, I use the apps Headspace. I use an app called Calm because Headspace is like a great app for beginners in meditation, and Calm is a bit more advanced. And so I use those two apps primarily very much to help me get myself in the moment and be present. And if you don't want to use an app, there are so many free meditation videos on YouTube that you can go and look at. One really good YouTuber that I listen to from time to time is Lavender. I love her meditations. She has the most calming voice, and I just love the way she goes about meditation with her videos. So meditation has helped me a lot, and maybe it will help you too. And then the last thing that I want to share is something that I had struggled with for a very long time, but with time, I found myself doing this a lot more, and my only regret is that I didn't do this sooner. And the last thing is letting people around me know how I'm feeling, letting them in on the thoughts that I'm going through or the rough mental health challenges that I'm struggling with. Because there were so many times where I didn't want to let somebody in on what I was going through because I didn't want to be a burden, or I was like, oh, they're probably dealing with so much already as is. I don't want to now throw my problems on top of their problems. And it would just, I didn't want to make anyone feel bad. I didn't want to make anyone feel worse. I didn't want to trouble people with my problems. And it never failed that every time I opened up finally about what I was going through, people would always say, like, I wish you told me sooner that you didn't have to feel like you had to battle this alone. And that we're here for you, friends, family, you name it. They all said that, like, thank you so much for telling us about what's going on with you and for opening up about your struggle. In the midst of opening up to folks about what I was going through, they would even share with me, like, I'm actually having a pretty cruddy day myself, or, what, I've actually been dealing with a lot of anxiety lately. And so I think the one thing that I learned is by opening up about my problems, it also gives people permission for them to open up about their problems as well. Because I think as human beings, we all strive for connection. We all strive for somebody to make us feel seen. We strive to be seen with our positive things in life, but also with our negative things in life, with our successes, but also with our moments of struggle and maybe our moments of failure where we fall flat on our face. We just want somebody to see us and make us feel heard. And so I know for some people, maybe you don't have that person in your life that you can open up to, or maybe you don't have access to a therapist that you can talk to. And for those folks, I want to suggest a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful app called Bloom. Bloom is an app that has an AI generated therapist where you journal at the start of each day what you're going through. And the app will come up with a list of exercises and thinking techniques and ideas for you to consider with whatever it is you're going through. And I know I have my qualms with AI, but for this case, it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing for folks who maybe don't have access to a therapist at the moment. Last time I checked with Bloom, it was around $25, $35 a year. And that's usually the cost of a therapist session for some people. So on top of the AI assistant, you also get access to so many wonderful lessons and programs led by people who will lead you through meditations or journaling exercises. And it's a wonderful, wonderful app for someone who feels they need to be seen, someone who is looking to somebody for advice on whatever it is they're going through. So if you need someone like that or something like that, Bloom is a great resource. I'll be sure to put that as well as the other apps that I've mentioned in the show notes below, so you can take a look at those apps and try them out yourself. The last bonus tip I will add on top of what I've talked about is lighting up your space around you, whether it's investing in a sad lamp, a therapy lamp, or even just putting more light around your living space. I know for me, after the holidays, I keep a lot of the holiday lights up around my apartment because January and February are usually the roughest months for me with depression. So I keep those lights up so that way, even when it gets darker earlier, I still have light around me. And that really helps a lot with my depression during the colder, darker months of the year. So just to recap today, what the tips are: number one, incorporate movement into your day, whether it's a short or longer workout, going for a walk, incorporate some form of movement. Number two, meditation. Whether you're a beginner or you're more advanced, incorporate a reset time with meditation into your day. And then number 3, let the people around you in on what you're going through and what you're feeling, because if you're like me, you will be so happy that you did. And then the apps that I shared for helping with meditation as well as with therapy. So I hope these tips help. And if you are someone who is struggling with depression or anxiety or any sort of mental health struggle right now, please know you're not alone in dealing with this, and know things can and things will get better. Because I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like to think the things that you're going through. I know what it's like to be in the headspace that you're probably in right now. This is a small chapter of your life that will eventually pass. So if you need to reach out to somebody and you don't know who to reach out to, you can contact the Suicide Lifeline by either texting them at 988 or calling 988, and you will be in touch with a counselor who can help you through whatever it is you're going through right now. So please know there is help. Please know you will get through this. And please, reach out for help. You will be very happy that you did. So that is what I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Transformation Talks. Hope to see you on the next episode. Take care, y'all. Thank you very much for tuning in to Transformation Talks. We hope this podcast has brought you insightful conversations, laughter, and a deeper understanding of the human experience. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving a review and sharing it with your friends, family, and fellow truth seekers. Remember, it's okay to be real, to be imperfect, and to navigate the messy and beautiful journey of life. So thank you for joining us on this incredible journey, and until next time, remember that you have the power to transform your world. Thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody.